Hello and welcome back to the third video in this series. In this episode I'm going to be covering conditional statements. So most useful computer programs at some point need to make a decision. For example, is variable A bigger than variable B? If it is, go and do this. If it's not, go and do something else. The two main keywords in Core Basic used to implement conditional statements are the if keyword and the case keyword. As always, we'll jump into an example program to demonstrate how to use if and case statements. So type edit to get into the editor. Okay, and we'll write our first command, which is going to be clear screen. So in the first program, all I'm going to do is I'm going to monitor the states of a hardware pin on the SolderCore, pin P0. To make it a little bit easier, I've plugged in a breakout board here, which gives you a visual indication of the state of each pin. Pin 0 is actually this one here on the right hand side. So at the moment the red LED is indicating that that pin's low. If it goes green at any point, that means the pin is high. So I'll leave it as low for a second. So we need to assign the states of that pin to a variable. So let's say my pin is the variable name equals, and then we use the core keyword .d0, and that will read the pin 0 status. Now depending on whether it's high or low, we need to do one thing or another. So if I type in if my pin equals 0, then print P0 is low. Else if it's high, then we're going to print P0 is high. So that's a really simple example of an if statement. So I'll just run through it quickly. So the state of pin D0 is assigned to the variable myPin. Then below, the if statement checks if myPin is low. If it is, it executes this statement here. So it prints P0 is low to the screen. If it's not, i.e. is it high, we print P0 is high to the screen. So we'll exit the editor, and if I hit F5, it should print at the top of the screen that pin P0 is low, as indicated by the red LED, which it does. And if I disconnect the wire here and make the pin go high, you can now see that it's executing the latter part of that if statement. So at the moment the if statement's all across one line. We can break it up though to make it easier to read and to add more statements to each branch. So like so, you need to add an end if to make it work. Like so. And now if we wanted to, we could add more statements. So we could say print hello, print goodbye. Obviously you can do other things other than print text to the screen, but in this example it gets the point across. It's also worth pointing out at this stage that you don't actually need the else statement. So for example, if you don't actually care if the pin's high, you only care if it's low, then we don't need this. So I can just show you that. I'll run those out using the apostrophe, and if I run that, it should print out pin 0 is low, but that looks the same. But if I now make the pin go high, it looks like it's doing nothing. But it is, it's doing exactly what it's been told to do. Okay, so that's a brief introduction into the if statement. So the other conditional keyword we can use is the case or case statements. What I'm going to do is create a new program. So use the keyword new, go back into the editor. Rather than write all out from scratch, I'm going to save a bit of time and paste in an example program I wrote slightly earlier. In the previous demonstration we monitored a single pin D0. If it was high, we printed some text to the screen. If it was low, we printed some different text to the screen. In this video we're going to monitor two pins. We do so using this install line here. I'll go into the details of how this works in a later video. The bit that I'm really interested in is this case statement here. The case statement is essentially evaluating bus value. So if, for instance, bus value equals 0, it executes these two statements. If it's 2, it executes these two. If it's 3, etc., etc. If none of the when clauses match bus val, so for instance, if it was possible, which it isn't in this case, for bus value to be 5, then obviously it's not 0, 1, 2, or 3. So this otherwise statement here catches that. So it would catch values like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, anything above the value of 3. So bus value is assigned at this line here. So all it's doing is reading pins D0 and D1, combining them into a number and assigning it to this variable. So I'll show you this in action. I'll hit Control D to exit, start the video camera, and if I hit F5, we'll start running the program. So at the moment the bus value is 0 because both pins are low. If I disconnect, both pins go high, and you can see a different statement is executed. And if I like so, it changes again, and I'll do the other pin and it changes once more. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. So just to clarify, that bus value will change depending on how I connect up these pins here, and depending on the value, the various when statements will be executed. What I failed to point out in this demonstration is there's a loop going on, which is this, which is implemented by this for I equals 0 to 9 line, and this next I. I'm going to go into loops in the next video explaining what it does, but in this demonstration all it's really doing is making sure that these statements are executed 10 times. This saves me having to push the F5 button 10 times. So yeah, in the next video we're going to look at loops and the various types and how we can use that to execute statements more than once. So hopefully I'll see you then.